So what's the claim? Because you started by making a claim about this app and then started talking about the left. So just trying to understand the convo. Well, yeah, because Taylor, you fucking... Sorry, you hack. Like, you understand that she does this thing about Jew hatred on the platform, and then left-wingers with a fair bit of traction come in to defend the anti-Semitism. It seems like you're conflating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism too. Zionism is a Nazi ideology. Again, thinking Zionism as a Nazi ideology is anti-Semitism. I don't blame Jews for finding this anti-Semitic in the slightest. Even of all the fascist ideologies you could pick, like picking Nazism specifically to describe a movement that was about Jews seeking an answer to 2,000 years of persecution and deciding, some of them correctly actually, that integration and assimilation in Europe wasn't actually going to save them, because that's where Zionism came from. Zionism came from people who were opposing the popular idea among Jews at the time, which was assimilationism, and saying that this will not work. They were right. It didn't work. Assimilationism did not help. It did not save the Jews in Europe. No amount of assimilation stopped the rise of fascism and Nazism and anti-Semitism in the 20th century. The Zionists were correct. They were correct on that. And to compare that to fucking Nazism, like, Jesus Christ, you're such a useless contributor to the space. God. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but over in Hungary, in Budapest, there was a pride parade that was the largest they've ever had. This enormous pride parade, and the circumstances under which this happened are very, very interesting, and I think it tells you quite a lot about protesting, what works, what doesn't, how authoritarianism works, what doesn't. So the story here is that Viktor Orban very quickly rushed some legislation in which outlawed certain forms of assembly. Like, they changed the rights of assembly in Hungary to make it illegal to hold any gatherings that, quote, propagated homosexuality. And they built it off of an earlier bill that banned material in public that propagated homosexuality. Because Orban, for those of you who don't know, is a very long-lasting president of Hungary who is a massive conservatard dipshit who basically weaponizes culture wars about refugees, gays, trans people and all that to have this kind of like stranglehold over Hungarian politics. And he does a very, very good job at it, you know. He's in trouble as of recently, though, because he's starting to pull behind the opposition. And there's going to be an election next year, I believe. And the opposition is still conservative. Like, Hungary's a conservative country. But it seems like things have gotten a bit worse for him. He's gotten a bit more aggressive with his legislation. Like, it's literally just amending the right of assembly to make it illegal to hold, like, pride. Like, this pride parade was technically, and in a lot more leaning on the side of, like, actually as well as technically, illegal. It was an illegal parade. The problem was that people found a way around it, because if you look at Hungary's electoral map for the presidency, Budapest is a city. It's a big city, right? And they vote against Orban. The mayor of Budapest is a liberal, and he did this very interesting little trick, which is that he rebranded the event. Isn't it two cities, basically? Yeah, there's Buda and Pest, yeah, and the Danube River in the middle, yeah. He rebranded the event and called it Budapest Pride Freedom. And the adding freedom to the end of it was rebranding it as an event that on paper meant that it was supposed to be a parade celebrating the Soviet withdrawal in 1991 in June. Because in June 1991, the same as Pride Month, the Soviets fully withdrew from Hungary, like they were gone. So they did that, and obviously you can tell from the flags, it's still a pride parade. It's still a gay pride parade. But they did that little alteration, and that's how the mayor got to go ahead in the city and kept it organized. Yeah, gay and anti-Soviet, yeah. Orban still insists that it is illegal, and it seems like the participants, all of these people apparently, are facing fines that could be up to $600. The organizers are risking up to a year in jail, but they went ahead with it. And a funny story is I was there. I was at at this Pride event. I didn't mean to. Okay, so I, on a fairly, like, I guess, impulsive decision, like, yeah, I actually on my break I ended up going to Budapest, like, and I was just out for lunch, and walking back to my Airbnb, this balcony here, I was like, oh shit, there's a massive Pride parade, and then I just see the crowd and they're moving up to the bridge, and that looks like, okay, so it looks like they're going from this main street up to the bridge. Cool. Just regular old Pride parade. And then I'm walking through this crowd and I'm noticing it's so difficult to get through because there's so many people. It's like really, really tight. And then I go round to try and get to this like off the main street to get into my room, and then I realized that this parade is going all the way around a corner because this isn't actually the main road. This is like off the main road that the parade that I started seeing it on, and it was everywhere, and the line was moving just for like 2 hours. It just was never ending. I was like, this is enormous. Like, what the is happening here? Yeah, and this was me on the balcony, just looking over them. This is like more than 2 hours into the march as well. And they're still going. And this is like way over a mile past the rally point at the bridge.
Can I think get a terra meal with a side of rocket fries and a large Klasny cola? Sorry delayed, but I thought it was funny.
Wow, thanks to $10. Really, it's giving Lebanese Herzl. Wow, thanks. But yeah, just totally stumble into this pretty historic moment, because this is definitely Hungary has had pride parades ever since the 90s, but this is definitely like by far the biggest one. It's like the biggest protest I've ever seen. Like the fact that it just would not stop, and it was so hard to get around. Like, yeah, it was enormous. Like, so big. I think the estimates have put it between, like, one estimate said it was like 100,000 people minimum. Others said it was like 200,000, 250, 300. Yeah, it was huge. And I managed to get some, like, this was, I think when I stumbled across it, this was just me noticing it was happening. And you can see how, like, never ending it is, even at the bridge. And then at first I thought, like, okay, this march is going to end somewhere, like at this flag. But then after standing there for like half an hour or more, it just, like, it would not stop going through. That's from the rooftop, I think, from the balcony. And I was kind of, like, quite noticeable as well, just how orderly the whole thing was. Like, it was full of people of, like, all age groups. Like, you can see here as well, a lot of people are, like, older, like boomers and stuff like that, because of Orban's decision, it turned into a general anti-government protest as well, obviously, with still the pride flags and all the, like, YMCA playing from the boom boxes and all that shit. So it was weird how they managed to merge both. And Orban, leading up to this protest, and his media, because there is such a thing as Orban's media, because it's like a very authoritarian society, despite still being a democracy, illiberal democracy, they call it. They were posting a bunch of pictures from Berlin and San Francisco Pride, which are both very extreme, like very kink laden, like based pride events, and trying to use that to warn people against the one in Budapest. But, like, I don't know how they pulled it off, but, like, through all of this protesting and everything I could see and everything that the press could find, was there wasn't a single incident where there was anyone engaging in any kind of, like, lewd acts or just any level of, like, behavior that might be considered inappropriate, which I thought was, like, insane. The fact that they had that level of, like, protester discipline. Like, there was obviously a lot of, like, I guess, like, very conventionally, like, gay aesthetics and all that stuff, but, like, the fact that it just never, it was basically just people, like, I think the direction protesters were generally given ahead of time was, like, don't give them fodder. Don't give them any fodder. I think there was maybe, like, one scuffle between a counter protester and some of the protesters on one of the lanes, but yeah, they managed to just play it perfectly. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Closets are for clothes. Like, it's all just this very milquetoast, like, family friendly, PG, not even PG really, like, pro gay stuff. Yeah, but yeah, damn. EU flags. I think that I also noticed this as well. There was someone with an Israel flag wandering through there as well. It was very odd seeing like the difference in political climate, obviously, because if it's any Soviet slash Warsaw Pact country, like you're not really going to see hammers and sickles or like socialist worker or any of that stuff. Like, yeah, wild. Also, another thing I noticed as well is that I don't know. I think this is probably. I think this is probably the opposite of what I used to think. I used to think that left wing, because this is Hungary's left wing. Like, left wing protesters are usually not going to be showing that much display of nationalism. That's what kind of how I understood it. I always thought that like left wing and nationalism was just like very contradictory, right? But now I realize that that's really only the case in like very, very well-to-do Western countries. Like in the UK, you would never, never see a pride protest with a bunch of Union Jacks flying, right? You would see it maybe in Scotland, like you'd see like saltires, Scottish flags. In America, you know, it was Mexican flags, right? It wasn't like not even Mexican and American flags, right? It was just Mexican ones. But here, you know, you see like the trans, like the I don't even know what this one is, and Hungarian flags, and then like the EU stuff. It seems to be that like people are okay to show like, because the way I see it is that when people are protesting, usually when it comes to nationalism, usually the left and right both try to claim the protests, right? Like, because people claim to be in the interests of their nation, like they're acting in the interests of their nation. And like in France as well, it's a thing. I think when left-wing protesters or left-wing rallies will often have French flags, but so will the right-wing ones. But yeah, just seeing it at a pride parade like that, like for a minute, it made me think like, oh, that's a little bit wacky, isn't it? But I think it's really just like because of being in the UK or knowing America, like that, like the English-speaking world just seems to be a lot less likely to do that. But yeah, I don't know. But I think the mayor signing off on this as well, I think was pretty essential, because the fact that they managed to have the roads, like have access to the roads for these like for these little music stages as well was quite important, because it was actually working in the way that when you have all these different vans and they've got DJ sets inside them, there's like a big problem where you get like the music like overlapping a lot, but like they managed to separate everything out just like perfectly as well. It was just so crazy seeing how well done this was. Well, that's fucking Azalea, isn't it? They're playing Azalea. Oh no. Little drum circles. White girl music. Someone on Discord said they saw a topless woman at a pride event holding a For Sinwar sign. Okay. I don't... What? Also, Azalea is not white, but maybe her song is? I don't know. You haven't seen a left-wing protest in Israel? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, in Israel there was like the hostage protests were, the anti-Bibi protests were full of like Israeli flags. Yeah, massively. Yeah. But yeah, that was an interesting little turn. Didn't expect that to happen. I'm almost definitely sick though now. Fuck's sake. You don't need to be white to do white girl music. I mean, obviously not. For Skin War. Wow, well done. I quite like this though. I like this little angle here, because it looks like I'm the leader, doesn't it? Looks like I'm in charge. Hell yeah. Man, this is a good pride parade. Solid. Good protest. It's like I'm Hitler, you know, I'm out here to give the speech. That's a good comparison, isn't it? Like the Pope. Anyway. Good memes. Very good memes. Speaking of the LGBTQ plus community, do we need to look at Contrapoints' adventures on Twitter? What's going on here? So we saw, actually, no, I didn't. Did I? I feel like I saw this on stream already, but whatever. This is anti-Semitic, right? It has nothing to do with Israel per se. It's something related to Judaism, not Zionism. This is anti-Semitic, right? And it's this fucking video of this dude, every president not named JFK, bonking their head off the wall, doing Jew stuff. It's just very like Zog shit, you know, like American presidents are bought by and controlled by the state of Israel, apart from JFK, the real hero, and the Zionists murdered JFK, like the whole thing, because he tried to stop their nuclear program. That's the whole meme. It's very anti-Semitic. And Contrapoints, are you guys just now noticing that like 50% of the Discord on this app is Jew hate? Ooh, Jew hate. Now that would entail a lot of the anti-Israel leftists as well in there. That sounds like what she's implying. And it seems like she's implying that because left-wingers defended this video. Believe it or not, left-wingers. Vadim, famous, Weasley, slightly wretched, on occasion, left-winger. I've always thought of you as someone who is disgusted by insincere religiosity and how our politicians cynically use it as a cover for their corruption. I don't want to pit you two against one another, but can you help this girl see the light? And he tags on, what a fucking... it's just like, how can you get proven wrong so many times, be off base on so many issues relating to this conflict and still think he's like, see the light? Holy fuck, man. The cult shit. Jesus Christ. Trigger. Help this girl. This bitch. Okay. Do you genuinely not get that this is referencing a conspiracy theory that the Zionists killed JFK? And apparently he might have deleted a tweet here, but I don't know. Carter was the first president to visit Israel in 1979. The Western Wall was not even under Israeli control until 1967. I didn't actually know this about Carter, that no one visited until... I did guess there was a problem with the JFK one because, yeah, like they didn't have the Western Wall. It was under Jordanian occupation. It wouldn't have anything to do with... Israel before 67. And JFK died in what, 63, 64? God. Oh, dang, you're right. I jumped to some conclusions without thinking. That's my bad. Regardless, I'm familiar with the individual you're accusing of promoting this theory and Jew hate, and I think you're extremely off base. You're such an awesome and influential voice, which is why I can't help but jump in when I see you making a statement that, in my honest opinion, does not help address genuine anti-Semitism at all. Pointing the finger in the wrong direction so strongly just contributes to hysteria that keeps us from addressing it properly. Bro, the guy is like is this the guy you're talking about? And then it's him on fucking InfoWars. Yes, it is. Not going to defend that, though. I'm fair. I'll go ahead and give that a yikes. But it's just like it's so, like, his honesty is like his candid, or his like, the fact that he'll say these things without thinking, his foot and mouth tendencies is like kind of helpful in the way that it's just like so openly displaying the fact that like this is what's happening to left wingers, is that they're falling for right wing anti-Semitic fucking nut job theories and takes and even people, because they talk similar. They're similar in what they believe. Disinfo tracker. This woman is a mass murderer who has helped destroy several countries. What she did to Libya alone should damn her to hell for eternity. Meanwhile, you're attacking a guy for mocking the genocidal state of Israel.
First-time donor.
Now this is quite subtle as well, right? Because obviously the guy is mocking US presidents, not even Israel, but okay. I guess they're the same thing. This person also insanely retarded, but okay. Man, Twitter. And then Taylor Lorenz, I think, chimed in as well at some point. Oh, there's Dan too. Where's Taylor's thing? Okay. Yeah, here. Deleted tweets. Not going to litigate this video, but I think that when making claims like 50% of the discourse on this app is Jew hate, it's extremely important to note that 99.9% of anti-Semitism on this app is from the far right / actual neo-Nazis who Musk has embraced, not communist TikTokers. Again, dumb, so ignorant. Left anti-Semitism has always been a thing. I don't see what is gained in denying it. Ooh, that's a big one from Contrapoints. Oh shit, that's a big statement. That's a big statement. Because left-wingers deny this. They deny it to the fucking hilt. They are so in denial of it. They probably do think this. They think 99.9 is probably still too generous in favor of the libs. Oh no. Addressing anti-Semitism in my sphere of influence. Yep. Are you trying to claim that 50% of the leftist discourse on this app is Jew hate? Wait, no? What? That's not what she said. She was talking about the entire space, but she's just saying that the left-wing contribution to this is is probably more than 0.1%. It's when she tries to draw conclusions like this, is like, that's how you know, like her brain doesn't really work. She's just a very dumb person. Because that's an insanely false and disingenuous claim, unless you're making the very false Zionist argument that anti-Zionism equals anti-Semitism. Okay. No, I'm not claiming that. So what's the claim? Because you started by making a claim about this app and then started talking about the left. So just trying to understand the convo. Well, yeah, because Taylor, you fucking retard. Sorry, you hack fucking twat. Like, you don't understand that she does this thing about Jew hatred on the platform, and then left wingers with a fair bit of traction come in to defend the anti-Semitism, which probably puts a little dent into your little fucking thesis that actually, no, it's all right-wingers doing the anti-Semitism. It's all right-wingers. Well, clearly, Contrapoint seems to be noticing that it's not all right-wingers. It's left-wingers defending it as well. So, okay. Look at the thread you're responding to. I cite an example of blatant anti-Semitism. A bunch of leftists jumped in to say that, no, that's not anti-Semitism. There is no left, it's anti-Semitism. I don't see this as just a negligible fringe issue. I don't see people saying that leftist anti-Semitism doesn't exist. You said it's 0.1% of the anti-Semitic discourse. Holy fuck, bro. But if you say 50% of this app is Jew hate, then point to a communist creator, of course people will ask you to clarify. It seems like you're conflating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism too. Zionism is a Nazi ideology. Again, thinking Zionism as a Nazi ideology is anti-Semitism. I'm sorry. If you think these two movements are comparable or ideologically, then yeah, you're either ignorant about one of those things or both of them, or you're just doing it because you want to shit on Jews. Like, again, and I don't blame Jews for finding this anti-Semitic in the slightest, for being compared to fucking Nazis. Like, picking Nazis of all even of all the fascist ideologies you could pick, like picking Nazism specifically to describe a movement that was about Jews seeking an answer to 2,000 years of persecution and deciding, some of them correctly, actually, that integration and assimilation in Europe wasn't actually going to save them, because that's where Zionism came from. Zionism came from people who were opposing the popular idea among Jews at the time, which was assimilationism, and saying that this will not work. They were right. It didn't work. Assimilationism did not help. It did not save the Jews in Europe. No amount of assimilation stopped the rise of fascism and Nazism and anti-Semitism in the 20th century. The Zionists were correct. They were correct on that. And to compare that to fucking Nazism, like, Jesus Christ, you're such a useless contributor to the space. God. You're the one making this conflation. If anti-Zionism sometimes means opposition to genocide in Gaza and other times means the Zios killed JFK because he was the only president they couldn't control, maybe Hitler had a point, I think that will have bad consequences. Nowhere here did I or anyone replying to this thread that I've seen say the second thing. Anti-Zionism is not she's just doubling down on the same fucking retarded shit. Jesus Christ. I think and the problem is that parts of this conversation were retweeted, I believe, by Ethan Klein and I think by Destiny as well. So now she's saying, I think when your content is being used by a Zionist like Klein, you might want to consider that your message could have been communicated with more nuance. I don't think this issue is reducible to Hassan versus Ethan. No one mentioned Hassan here. I said if your post is being leveraged by a well-known Zionist, it is probably worth clarifying your message. And then no response, and she doubles, just reiterating that if a well-known Zionist was using my post to further his bad faith hate campaign against people who have been calling out the genocide in Gaza, I'd consider, if I was effectively communicating my message, just sharing for posterity, smiley face. God, she's such a fucking smug cunt. I hate Taylor Lorenz so much. It's just this whole, it's this combination of like ignorance, toxicity, and a fucking veneer of like niceness. Ugh, God, it's so fucking gross. Ugh, Jesus Christ. Guilt by retweet. Again, sorry, Taylor, like how many fucking pro-terrorists, like literal pro-terrorists defend you, by the way? Fuck me. Who did I block here? No idea. Don't remember that person. Dan's in there. Oh no, guys! If I was being favorably replied to by Dan Saltman, wow. Mike from PA chimed in as well. I think he replied to this with just that. Natalie, question: would you consider yourself a liberal Zionist? And then she blocks him. I'll take that as a yes. God, he's so important, isn't he? And now he's like spurging out in his replies as well. Oh God. Someone posting a, 15-year-old video of Contrapoints saying Islam reform or get out? Okay. Rare redacted from redacted win. I non-stop win. Can you give me an example of an L? Oh no. A well-known Zionist. Damn. Max Copeland, thanks for the $4.99. Appreciate that. But yeah, she's really sparking some discourse. Contrapoints. Fuck. Again, remember a few days ago, about a week or so ago, I said that Contrapoints did seem like the way she was tweeting, it looked like she wanted to say something about the lefty pro-pally sphere, whatever. It's funny that she got there and properly dug into these fights now with Taylor and Vadim and Mike and PA. It's funny that she ended up in that position because she called out a right-wing tweet. The JFK thing is a right-wing anti-Semitic take. That's what it, traditionally at least, but now that the left are starting to buy it, maybe it's changed, but traditionally the idea that the Zionists killed JFK because he was trying to stop the nuclear program, that's a Nazi anti-Semitic take, not like a left-wing one. But now it seems that by calling out the Nazi take, she's attracted the ire of the leftists, which is quite interesting, really. So now Ethan is firing off at Taylor as well. Ethan drops a barrage of IG stories on Taylor Lorenz. Hypocrisy of using 12-year-old clips when Hassan has bro tips on his resume. What's she saying here?
Here's the other thing with Hassan. He's unreasonably good looking and like cool and dresses cool.
Tell me about it.
But you know what I mean? Like Hassan would be an influencer no matter what he was saying because he is
hot.
Bro tip. This week's bro tip is about bringing out the alpha male in you. A few things to consider when you're thinking about Lady Gaga as the top contender for Babe of the Week should be the fact that she might have a penis.
Yes.
The fact that Lady Gaga might have a small penis does absolutely terrify me. Here's why the 5-second rule works. Because when you start thinking for longer than 5 seconds, you're immediately not thinking with your dick and also thinking with this pesky thing up here that we like to call our brains. So once you start thinking with your brain, you're immediately going to psych yourself out. Come back again next week when we discuss the legendary question of all time. Old enough to count, old enough to mount? Question mark? I want to say thank you to Miley Cyrus for showing off her camel toe at the VMAs the other night. I always knew Hannah Montana was a little slut. Don't even try to hide it. Look, this is a classic example of what happens when your father doesn't pay attention to you. You turn out to be a slut who's craving for attention, and then I tend to pick you up at a bar late night and bang you out on the first date. Bro tip. This week's bro tip.
The sound of his voice, like the cadence and the pitch of his voice is it's so funny, man. God, it's so funny. Unbelievable. The professional, man. Okay. Oh my God, lefty. You can tell Ethan's still on the left with the length of this fucking post. So Taylor, is that really the extent of your logic? Ethan used this screenshot to rethink your position. What a shallow, helpless, unintellectual loser. Wow. It would be anti-intellectual, really. Yours is the beautiful mind that conceived of Ethan criticized me, therefore he's a misogynist. Nah, you're just an idiot. Here's a video from 12 years ago that proves Ethan is a misogynist. You call yourself a journalist, but truthfully, you are nothing more than an internet mean girl, all while defending the old enough to count, old enough to mount bro tips era Hassan Piker. How did I not know about this? What, the bro tips? This week's bro tips! Yeah. You will notice, now that you've seen that, okay, you will start to notice every now and then Hassan's like frat bro misogyny. It's still there. Like it still comes out. And not that rarely either. Taylor interacting with a dedicated snarker hate Twitter account. Ethan's attic is peak unawareness. Aren't you supposed to be an anti-snark hero? Okay. Taylor, a bunch of weirdo harassers, doxers, and anti-Semites are sharing your post right now. That Ethan's attic guy literally just defended the dude saying that Hitler might have had a point. Oh, shit! Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. That ain't good, bros. Is that real? Chat, is this real? This is the beef. Okay. Cute. Wait, you think that was serious? What, the bro tips thing? You realize that the Lady Gaga thing, especially like even as humor, is still something that progressives would not let you get away with right now, right? Are you? Okay, what's this? Was JFK even anti-Israel? Not really. Not particularly. Every single president has had like run-ins with every single president. barring a couple, have had run-ins with Israel over something or other, right? It's just dumb conspiracy theory. This is Bob Villain in May 2025, so 2 months ago.
Death to every single IDF soldier out there as an agent of terror for Israel. Death to every single IDF soldier out there.
Man, why did Pierce not have that to hand?
As an agent of terror for Israel.
You're missing the context. He meant active soldiers. Wait, can we get an edit? Can we just get this like side by side with Taylor Lorenz saying that he means the institution, not the individual soldiers? Fuck. Can you post the links to both these videos? Yep. Well, the Pierce one is just on the Pierce show. Like, that's easy enough to find, right? And that's the other one. Or, honestly, I can just do my fucking job and we can do it side by side right now. What the fuck? Look, we can just do it right now. No, not that one. No, this one. Where is it?
Well, yeah, because again, if an army is committing genocide and slaughtering babies,
failed spectacularly at this. They didn't even see it coming, which is shocking.
Taylor, let me bring Taylor back here. Do you agree that free speech does not come without accountability? Otherwise, you can say what you want to say, and he did, and he got what he wanted, a blaze of publicity, a blaze of headlines. But now he's feeling the icy chill of accountability dropped by his agency, United Talent Agency, had his visa revoked and so on, which will affect the tour that he was planning to do, or that they were as a group. I mean, do you think that that is appropriate punishment if you incite violence?
I think what Hen said about how, artists are doing this for
here?
We can't condemn it, and all due respect, if you try and twist it into, well, he was just talking about the institution, not about individual IDF soldiers.
Here?
One's taking that as meaning the institution. They're taking it as meaning
British
soldiers.
When people say death to America, they mean death to American imperialism that is subjugated them.
No, they don't. They mean death to Americans.
That's a very generous.
The tour that he was planning to do, or that they were as a group. I mean, do you think that that is appropriate?
Where is it? Was it here?
How, artists are doing this for publicity.
Can be. When you get banned.
Again, I think losing out the way that musicians make money is primarily through touring, especially if you're a small musician. And if you suddenly can't tour and you're shut out of the largest market in the West, which is America, I do think that will have a significant impact. The focus on the genocide. I mean, we had hundreds of Israelis chanting death to Arabs, right? Which was completely. Well, I certainly didn't see a lot of the people that are freaking out about Bob Villain speaking in the same.
Itself that has issued.
Next is stop the genocide. Again, if people really military forces,
then I don't think anyone wants positive sentiment. I don't know why you twisted it around. We're saying we don't want anyone to call for the death of anyone. I mean, if you are advocating
to start, actually,
a step too far. Deleted festivals. James Barr, collector and culture commentator for our Khalidi. Welcome to all of you. If you think death to the IDF is a bad thing to say or chant, you don't get to describe yourself as anti-fascist going forward. Why did you repost that?
Yeah, I repost tons of commentary on news events, basically. So I was sort of resharing, which is something that I do a lot on my meme page. I kind of just reshare a lot of discourse. I think one thing that's being really lost in all of these conversations is that the Israeli military is committing genocide. And so I completely understand why
people, and every Jew I know felt the same way, that the Gladsbury fans were calling for the death of Israeli soldiers. What we hear when we hear death to the IDF is that the only line of defense between Jews and another, as you would see at the post that I made calling this out, as well as the Israeli government itself, as you would see.
Again, if people want the public and these artists to have more positives, they didn't say death to Israelis, they said death to the IDF, again.
Who are Israeli. I have a lot of criticism of what the Israeli government is doing in Gaza right now.
Shit.
To come together in the spirit of love. Not this time. Punk rap duo Bob Villain laid crowns in vitriolic chants about Israel, which made global headlines.
Let's say,
and were condemned by the
here
bad thing to say or chant. You don't get to describe yourself as anti-fascist going forward. Why did you repost that?
So I was sort of resharing, which is that's being really lost in all of these conversations, is that the Israeli military is committing genocide. And so I completely understand why, people are upset about anyone sort of calling for death. But it's important to recognize that the reason that they're calling for death to this sort of amorphous military entity, we found out Haaretz reported just last week that they were knowingly...
They weren't talking about an entity. They were talking about the soldiers. They wanted the death to the IDF soldiers.
No, they didn't say death to the IDF soldiers. They said death to the IDF. Again, the IDF is a military entity. If people would like the public to change their sentiments around the IDF, they should advocate for the end of the genocide.
What do you think the IDF is?
It's a military organization. Again, if people are very angry at right now because this military organization is currently...
Yeah, again, so like, she's saying that he's talking about the IDF as an institution, not killing the people. And then obviously this is the guy... Bob Villain from 1 month ago.
Death to every single IDF soldier out there as an agent of terror for Israel. Death to the IDF.
So I feel like it's quite clear what he means. I don't know why you would... Okay. Nah, he means this is a concept. It's that thing again. Let's make defenses for people that they wouldn't even make for themselves. Well done, Taylor. Well done. The journalistic rigor there. Yeah, I know. Even if you say that it was like... just meaning it as an institution, that's still problematic, and you can engage on that level too. But this guy's just saying, like, kill them all, okay?
Death to every single IDF soldier out there as an agent of terror for Israel.
Every single one, let's go.